And we're reaching out this morning to officials working in the response to some of those devastating storms.
Yeah, right now we're joined by Matt Trotter with the American Red Cross to learn more about how they're helping those that have been impacted. Matt, thanks for joining us. Want to start with what shelters are open right now? We know the one in Sulphur, and what's the capacity looking like at some of these shelters?
So far the Sulphur shelter is the one that we have open and confirmed. We have space there and resources there for whoever in the town needs it. We know that Daybreak is going to show the extent of the damage in town and maybe make it easier for people to get there. And we are in touch with officials in more than a dozen other counties in Oklahoma, assessing their needs and what residents need in those areas as well. The one in Sulphur is the shelter we can confirm is open right now, and we'll be letting people know about others as we're able.
And I'm sure more opening later this morning. So you mentioned resources at that shelter. People need help. What can they expect?
Right. So when people come to a Red Cross shelter, they know that they will have a safe place to stay, whether they need to sleep there or if they just want to stop by for a little bit and then get back out to try to take care of their property, what have you. We provide meals, snacks, and water. We do have health services available for disaster-related conditions, first aid if people need that, refilling lost prescriptions, replacing lost eyeglasses, and other medical equipment. We also offer emotional support, mental health services, because we know that disasters are a very stressful event. We can help with spiritual care if somebody prefers to be prayed with or guided in that way. And we can also help people reconnect with their loved ones and get information about recovery resources local to them.
And Matt, we know when disaster strikes, the American Red Cross deploys pretty instantly. What are some of the difficulties you guys are dealing with right now in Sulphur? What can people be doing if they might know a loved one that's in that area? How can they get some help?
Yeah, so the current weather conditions are a challenge. When the weather conditions aren't safe for people to be out, it's difficult for the Red Cross to get where it needs to go and do what it does after a disaster. If people are missing loved ones right now after these storms, the best thing to do is to, unfortunately, be patient, stay away from areas as law enforcement and other first responders are asking, because coming to look for people is just going to add to the situation and make it more dangerous and difficult for what they're trying to do. You can call 1-800-RED Cross if you are missing a loved one, and we will work with you and work with folks on the location of the disaster to try to get you back in touch with them.
And Matt, as we know, when the sun comes up, we're going to get a real look at some of the damage left behind by that tornado. What needs to happen, or what needs to be in place for more shelters to open up across the state?
We're still in conversations with emergency managers. They're typically the ones that alert us to the greatest need for shelter and get that process started. We've been in talks with Hughes County officials about opening a shelter in Holdenville, and really the things that need to happen is we need to identify a suitable location, a place that has power, running water, those sorts of things, or can be set up on a generator quickly. And in really hard-hit areas, sometimes it can be difficult to find a place local that people can get to and access, and that also has power and the other amenities that we need a shelter to have to operate safely and keep people healthy and well while they're there. So hopefully that will get a bit easier as the sun comes up and storms continue to get out of these areas, but we're working on that as we speak.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As you heard, we'll know more when the sun comes up. And of course, we'll let you know about any new shelters that open. But if you're in Sulphur right now and need shelter or assistance after that tornado, the Red Cross has opened a shelter at the Crossway Church in Sulphur at 2108 West Broadway Avenue. The Murray County Sheriff's Office has also designated this site as a reunification center. If you're looking for a loved one, everyone is welcome at that Red Cross shelter.